So clearly something happened in around 1950, and look how pretty that looks. Does that look pretty? Does that look sweet? Anyway, and just at the start of the Korean War, which I think the Korean War was actually started as a cover, as a device. So anyway, so they are apparently using some really creepy friends, foreign parties. The Soviets took some B-29s they had gotten during World War II, and they put a whole shitload of bombs in them, atomic bombs. And then they were going toward Cuba, probably. They were going somewhere. They were just flying along over the ocean. Remember, this is peacetime. And they suddenly just fall off the radar, apparently crashing. Probably gave out a distress call, which was, of course, false. And then, having landed, probably at a pre-prepared site. There was some barge or something nearby. They used rockets to assist them back into the air. And then they went at very low altitude, some distance away, in sort of random fashion, but still moving closer to the U.S. coast, and then landed again. Anyway, so they're just inside the radius of the bomb blast zone, let's say. And so if they detonate their weapons, they have all these goddamn nukes on board the craft. It would utterly destroy the United States. I mean, there would be such chaos that, the country would just basically fall apart. And the Soviets could just take over it anyway. They could just walk in there and say, "Oh, we're going to help you motherfucking Americans. What happened to you? What happened? What else? Why was this stuff falling apart?" So anyway, Truman capitulated. The way I understand it, he had to capitulate, right? But he did it in a very secret fashion. I mean, you've heard about the Roswell incident. Well, I think that was a cover for what really happened, which is the U.S. surrendered to the Soviet Union, the communist bloc. So, the communists have us by the balls from 1950 onward. And I think the Korean War was basically designed to bring U.S. personnel close to the Soviet bloc in such a way as to, so that ordinary citizens could be basically transformed into sleeper agents. You've heard of the Manchurian Candidate? Sort of like that, brainwashing. So, anyway, so the Soviets have us. They have us surrendered. We have surrendered, and they have our nuclear codes, and they always have our nuclear codes, because if we don't play ball, they'll just blow them motherfuckers up in the fucking place where they are. I mean, using some kind of, I don't know. They had us by the balls. It was called nuclear blackmail, baby. And we maintained our nuclear arsenal, but only because it could be used against us. But we didn't know that. I mean, very few people knew that. So from that point on, we were at the mercy of the Soviets. But the Soviets themselves were kind of like partnered with, I will call them a foreign dignitary, a foreign agency, foreign agents. And the foreign agents had a plan, a master plan. Sort of like the Nazis. Like to say Nazis, like that, say Nazis. Say Nazis, but I like to say Nazis. Anyway, it sounds so sissy-like. Anyway, I like to make the Nazis look like sissies, because they really are just like sissies. Sissy Nazis. Anyway, so from 1950, probably from about February 3rd, 1948 onward, which is when the initial blackmail scheme was put in effect. We were at the mercy of the Soviets. Now, I may have the dates slightly wrong, but I think the broader, I'm painting with broad brush strokes now, because I don't want to wear you down with details, whoever you are. And you know who you are. Anyway, so and then there's this doctor's plot that's remarked about, and there's this secret speech by Khrushchev, and then of course there's the Falsifiers of History book that on February 3rd, which of 1950, I think it was 50, no, 1948. Anyway, it all leads to one conclusion: that we have been under the thumb of a foreign agency, let's say, for ever since 1948 at least. So, that being said, what does the foreign agency want to do? Well, they want to engage in social engineering. They want to experiment. They're going to use the United States and other Western countries as guinea pigs. Really giant guinea pigs. Lots of guinea pigs. And the doctor's plot is basically very freighted, because, of course, doctors are almost like a priesthood. They're secretive, and they have great power. Some people think the doctors think they're God. The God complex. So anyway, and there's all this fringe science that's going on in the background. Eugenics, bioengineering, all kinds of shit. So basically what we have today, my friend, is a society that is nowhere like what you might think it is. The problem is, for them, the foreign agencies, is that the American psyche has to have a certain stability. So they have to maintain the appearance of certain things, lest Americans go off the rocker. Literally. But at some point, the Americans will become accustomed to the new world order, and it won't matter, because they'll already be, part of the grand design. What is the grand design? I would tell you, but it's too horrific for me to tell you, because if I told you, it would put you into a state of mental confusion, assuming you're a relatively normal human being. I hope you are. That you would literally will go catatonic. I mean, you literally would just you'd become demented. You would lose your orientation. You couldn't remember. Reality is based on the mind. The mind cannot grasp reality, then its reality falls apart. Reality is literally held together by the human mind. So that being said, I'm decided to go ahead and put this on YouTube if I can. I don't even know if anybody sees it. Because obviously the internet can be controlled. Remember that movie, The Core? Well, there's this little kid, like an 18-year-old kid or a 20-year-old kid, who has such genius that he's able to control the internet. Anyway, all he has to be paid is Hot Pockets. So he's like an autistic savant. Like, give me some Hot Pockets and I don't really care. So, well, that's it, I mean, once you understand the truth, you remember the CIA has on the wall somewhere, and all this is laid there for a purpose. It's so that someday, somebody will be able to pick up the pieces and put Humpty Dumpty back together again. So, but the truth shall set you free. And maybe the truth will set us free. I don't know. Remember the movie The Matrix? The whole idea was there was some development in human society that was so fantastic that it gave rise to incredible capabilities, evidently. Sort of like a swarm of artificial intelligence and interaction with humans and the mind, and et cetera, et cetera. Somebody had a brainstorm and just put it all together. But the machines rebelled, and then humanity tried to put a stopper on the machines by, making the atmosphere very cloudy. Sort of like Seattle is right now. Well, actually, it's sunny. But the machines responded by taking all the humans they could find and turning them into batteries and then just replicating them. But they found that they had to give the humans a sense of reality. Otherwise, they wouldn't stay alive and they wouldn't generate heat and electricity, which is, of course, what the machines need. Hence the Matrix. Of course, they used the Matrix. The template for the Matrix was the society, probably early 21st century. Anyway, and then, who is that? Means new. Anyway, he's wakened from his slumber, finds that he's hooked up to an umbilical cord and serving as a battery, and finds his way to basically fix things a little bit. But he goes blind in the process. But then he can see anyway. Haha. But anyway. So what I'm saying is, in brief, is that things are not good. Things are bad. Once you realize this, if the mind can tolerate the truth, then you can find a way to revise the truth, make the truth something different. We can come out of the abyss. We really can. I mean, the church has failed, society has failed. We didn't defend ourselves. We became vulnerable to our own weapons. The Soviets took command of us, and then, of course, I think the Chinese took command of what the Soviets had, so the Soviets fell apart. It's sort of dog eat dog. Anyway, speaking of dogs and cats and other things, I'm gonna curtail this so I can put it on YouTube before it gets to the magic 15-minute point where it won't let me do it. It says, Operations Officer, I don't give a fuck. Goodbye.